Right, left. Left. On the door. This way.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Young People's African American Orchestra.
Stay. Good morning. Let's try this again. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. And happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you all fathers. I want to make sure I get that out the way. My name is Anthony Ebony Davis. I have the privilege to introduce someone. I'm going to introduce a young man who is a native son to Paterson. He attended high school up in Wayne. I'm not going to go there. He attended HBCU. He belonged to the greatest fraternity, Omega Psi Phi fraternity. He's the husband of Kimberly Wimbley. 4 sons, the 4 J's. Some people call him Coach. Some people call him Assemblyman. Some people call him Father, Teacher. I said that first, a native son, but a son. I had the privilege of knowing him for 40 years. We have our ups and downs. We both attended, like I said, HBCUs. Belong to the same fraternity. He is a dear friend, a selfless individual who would give his shirt to the world, but he definitely give it to Paterson at the same time.
Amen. Amen.
We are thankful to have him at his level as Assemblyman. Privileged to know this guy, my dear friend, Benji Wimbley.
I don't know if those were compliments or not, but good morning, Councilman Davis. I appreciate it. We've known each other longer than 40 years. When I was a little boy, Councilman Davis used to walk me to school, and I always appreciate him for that. Having big brothers like him in the community is what it's all about. But, and to our commissioners, I'm a proud PCTI graduate, and I make no shame. I'm the only one who broke the Eastside High School rule in my family, the only one who would.
Mike went out.
And to bless this morning, thank you, brother. Thank you for allowing us to provide. We have none other to bless Juneteenth, to bless the parade this morning, is the phenomenal Councilwoman at Large, Apostle Lalisa May.
from not being able to have seats and keep seats at the table? Are we still free from our voices wanting them to be silent, or wanting us to be muted, or wanting us not to stand for what is rightfully ours? Are we really free? The question remains, even as 1865, we were removed from the chains of bondage and slavery, the question still stands today, over 400 years later. Are we still free? So we're no longer asking, we're no longer begging, we're not even pleading. We are stating the unequivocal fact that we deserve what rightfully belongs to us. So we stand on that premise, we openly state it, we are unapologetically Black, and we will not take it back. And so, God, we thank you that you have put the sun out. You're allowing the wind to blow, because we're sooner than later, we will get back what we rightfully deserve, that was taken from us, that was snatched from us, that was beaten on our ancestors when they were slaves, when they were on plantation, when they were sharecroppers and their land was stolen. So, God, we stand today on the fact that we are Black and we are proud. We are Black and we are proud, and we're not just marching, we're just not raising flags, but we are raising awareness, and we'll say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. Say it loud.
I'm Black and I'm proud.
Say it loud.
I'm Black and I'm proud.
God bless you, and God bless this great city of Paterson.
Amen.
That's the move from the 70s.
Well, Paterson, we heard the word, we heard the charge, so we're going to move on, and we will definitely, like to acknowledge all of our dignitaries are here. We have with us Congressman Bill Pasquale, our mayor of the great city of Paterson, Andre Sand, City Council President Maritza Davila, Sheriff Richard Burnick, Commissioner Pat Lepore, and we've already heard from the phenomenal, as I said, it was going to be phenomenal, and we are never disappointed in our sister of the city, our daughter of Paterson, Lalisa Mims, our councilman. And we also have with us former Councilman Anthony Davis. We have with us the Mayor of Hilden, Dominic Stampone. Assemblywoman Shavonda Sumter. Now, as Assemblywoman stands, and we talked and heard the word of Councilwoman Lalisa Mims, she is leading the charge from the New Jersey Legislative Black Caucus for a reparations task force. And we were both in Newark yesterday, and as she spoke, and so many people spoke eloquently, the bottom line is, we are not asking for our 40 acres and a mule yet. All we're asking for is a task force. So we urge you to reach out to other assembly members outside of the 35th and ask them that we put up for a vote a reparation task force bill. And this is, believe me, it is a committee. That's it. California has already done it. It's nothing new. This is nothing crazy. We're not saying, and I told him yesterday, we're not asking for Escalades, we're not asking for Mercedes, we are asking for a task force. And if you heard the word from Lalisa Mims, our councilwoman, after the slave trade where millions of Africans were lost and their lives were killed through the trade, many of our Caribbean brothers and sisters who've been part of that trade, and 246 years of slavery, 89 years of segregation, and 403 years of social injustice, a task force is the least we can do. So please urge your legislators from outside of this district to stand up with us. Urge your elected officials to stand up with us so that we can have this task force, please. Because New Jersey, if we're blue, if we're progressive, we were the first to introduce it. Our own Paterson, Shavonda Sumter, is the first person to introduce this bill. We should not have been second to California. This should have been a no-brainer. So thank you, Assemblyman.
That's right. That's right.
We also have with us Councilman Morris from Hilden. Councilman, there you go. Okay, the Great Falls Commission. Can we have the Great Falls Commission? There we go. You're here. Give the brother a hand. There you go. But more importantly, can we give our children, I see the Girl Scouts out here, can they stand? Can we give them some energy this morning as they prepare to march? Can the Girl Scouts stand, please? Give our young folks their due. They're getting ready to take a 2-mile track Martin Luther Drive, so make sure they understand, make sure they feel the energy. Appreciate the drums. Brother Vic on the drums as always, you're right on time. And our young folks, please give them a round of applause who came in. Emoji and Blood, Raheem Smallwood, Emoji and Bud, yes. Raheem Smallwood. And as we came in, I told Brother Smallwood, we have quickly become the old dudes in the neighborhood. So I told him, like, years ago, me and Smallwood go places, we'd be the young guys. We are now the unks, the pops, the everything else, but I embrace that. I embrace that. Many of us don't get to live to that point here. The OGs, we're the OGs, definitely in the neighborhood. So we appreciate that. But at this time, without further ado, we have a young man that is just phenomenal. And he's going to present and talk a little bit about what today is all about. Jimmy Richardson is somebody that soon we're going to turn on TV. It's going to be PBS, it's going to be Stars, it's going to be Netflix, and Paterson is going to be out here because when you talk about history, our young folks, you need to know the true history of Paterson.
That's right.
Not just the Underground Railroad.
That's right.
The history of Paterson
The
is
history.
phenomenal. From being an industrial city, from being one of the first cities, from being the first in so many things. If you're a Girl Scout, I know you know all this stuff, so I'm just preaching to the choir. But please give a rousing applause for Jimmy Richardson.
Yeah.
Thank you, President Green. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone for coming to this occasion. And I have a lot to unpack, and I'll try and do it as briefly as I can. First and foremost, I'd like to say these flags, American flags on this side of the site, are for every war that this country has fought. There has been every war that this country has fought. There's been an African American involved. The green flag on this side, that is the Green Mountain Boys. The Green Mountain Boys from the Minutemen. But I won't go into that. On this side, we have all the flags from the Caribbean nation, not all of them, but a number of flags from the Caribbean nation that were involved in the transatlantic slave trade. So I'll unpack it this way. In September 17th of 1862, I'm sorry, 1862, we had the Battle of Antietam. Not we, but we fought in the Battle of Antietam. It was the greatest war greatest battle in the Civil War. Now, why Antietam is important is because that was the event that forced or caused Abraham Lincoln to write the preliminary emancipation. The preliminary emancipation would be preceded, or would follow, would be the emancipation that we all know of 1863 that Abraham Lincoln signed. In the African American community, we celebrate something in the black churches called Watch Night service. In the Watch Night service on December 31st, 1862, all the black churches were preparing for the emancipation. And to make a long story short, that's where Watch Night occurs and where it starts in this country. And we do still celebrate that occasion in our black churches. In 1865, I believe it was April 9th, April 12th, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. On April 9th, Robert E. Lee surrendered at Appomattox. And when he surrendered at Appomattox, what it did is it most certainly was the end of the Civil War. But it's unfortunate that even with the emancipation being signed and distributed in 1863, most of this country, and especially Texas, did not know that we were free. And so what happens, Abraham Lincoln issues another letter to General Gordon Granger, who is a general in Texas, and he issues this General Order Number 3. General Order Number 3 tells General Granger that all the slaves in this country are free. 250,000 slaves as of that day, June 19th, the day of Jubilee, were free. That is why we celebrate Juneteenth, Day of Jubilee, Freedom Day, and all those other things. There's so much more that I can say, but time is limited. I do want to make a couple of presentations, and before I make the presentation, I want to say this. On March 9th of this year, I have been laboring for 10 years to get this site part of the National Park Service, and I'm happy to say on April 9th, we were accepted into the National Underground Railroad Network to Freedom. It's amazing because now in the city of Paterson, we have 2 national parks. I know that that probably happens in Washington and Philadelphia, but for it to happen in Paterson, I think it's a credit to our community. The other thing I would like to say is at the end, what we're going to do, we're going to ring the Freedom Bell. That's what the flyer was, the inaugural Freedom Bell ring. And what I'd like to do is, as we depart after the benediction, I want everybody to come up if you choose to. We're all going to get a chance to ring the Freedom Bell on your way out. When on your way out, everyone here will get a copy of this book. It's called Slavery at the River's Edge. And it is little short stories about slavery that happened in Paterson. But on the back page, the National Park Service, and every National Park Service in this country, they have a passport stamp. When you go there, you get your passport stamp, and it identifies that you have visited that. It's a collector's item. And it's a commemorative piece also. It symbolizes that you have obviously went and visited those sites. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have our stamp. So when you leave here, you get a copy of this book, and inside of the back page, you'll have the stamp. So actually, in actuality, this becomes a commemorative item. Before I go, one other thing, I would like Congressman Pasqua to say a few brief words, and also behind him, Mayor Andre Serra to come up for a presentation. And also, Assembly Benji Grimley, and also Assemblywoman Sumser, if they all come up, and I have a presentation for them all.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning, Paterson.
Morning.
Be proud of our city. A long history and a great history. A lot of problems in that history. A lot of problems. But we have emerged. Whether it be human problems or whether it be fires or floods. Something about this city that shows our resilience. This city doesn't mind getting into trouble. As John Lewis said, good trouble. And that's his history. And we miss him dearly in the Congress every day. I've had an interesting week. I asked for Justice Thomas to resign because he has blown it. Just as I went after Giuliani and got him disbarred in New York. It's our turn. It's our turn. So, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday I'll be very short, but yesterday I mentioned my good friend and probably the greatest African-American writer I know and knew, Ralph Ellison. He wrote the book, The Invisible Man, because that's what Reconstruction tried to do to African-American people, make them invisible. Reconstruction was a disaster. We are still in Reconstruction, 100 years later. All we want is equality. And if they're not going to give it to us, we're going to take it. And we got to be strong. You can't be backwards. You can't jump the fence. I lived in a neighborhood in Paterson. I've lived here all my life. But I lived in a neighborhood in Paterson, but we learned to jump fences. And you'd be walking through picnics in the backyard, you'd be walking through a lot of things. Well, that is Paterson. And we should be proud. And Shavonda and the coach have done a fantastic job in New Jersey, bringing this to fore. So young folks, don't be invisible, because you're better than that. And we have equality. And Ralph Ellison said in his book, he started out looking for his own the culture's and the society's identity, and wound up looking at his own and examining it very, very carefully. He's contributed tremendous. I recommend the book to everybody, all the time. God bless you all. Thank you for being here, and thank Benji for taking this by his own teeth. Pop, whatever they're gonna call you now that you're home, man. We love you, and we appreciate all that you've done. Thank you for being here today. God bless you.
Good morning, Paterson. Good morning. First, we're here to celebrate two of the gentlemen behind me, Josiah Huntoon and William Van Rensselaer. And we are fortunate enough today to have a direct descendant of William Van Rensselaer with us, and that is none other than Dale Skip Van Rensselaer. Step up, Skip, please. Get up close in Paterson. I also want to acknowledge a dignitary in my life, my MVP, my most valuable partner, the First Lady of the City of Paterson, Farhana Sayah. This Sunday, we celebrated 12 years of marriage. This Sunday in history, in American history, is also known as Loving Day, when a white man and black woman wanted to get married and weren't allowed to get married in this country. And so they took it all the way to the Supreme Court, Congressman. You mentioned Clarence Thomas. And they won in 1967, Loving versus Virginia. And June 12th is Loving Day. And it's also the day my wife and I consider or celebrate our anniversary. And why do I say that? Because many years ago, we went to Cincinnati, Ohio. We went to the Underground Railroad Freedom Center. And it is set on the banks of the Ohio River because it was a passage out of slavery. For those that were in the South looking to escape, they crossed the river and got to the other side to freedom. And just like Mr. Van Rensselaer and Mr. Huntoon, it was a white man and a black man working together to help provide a path to freedom. And I encourage and invite anyone who's interested in visiting to go and see for yourselves. There's a compelling documentary, 20 minutes, narrated by Oprah Winfrey, that tells the story of passage to freedom over the Ohio River. I want to also acknowledge the fact that my wife and I took a trip many years ago to Birmingham, Alabama. We went to Rickwood Field. It is one of only 2 stadiums still standing that hosted Negro League games. Well, now, Paterson, since we preserve our history, we have an opportunity with Hinchliffe Stadium, the other stadium that still stands, that hosted Negro League games. And with the support of our congressmen, with the support of our team, our assembly team, our city council, with the support of our public, we're bringing back a treasure. I'm a big fan of history. I was a history major. But I'm a fan of unsanitized history. Unsanitized American history, where we tell the whole story of the history. So at Hinchliffe Stadium, we will tell the story of social justice, the struggle for civil rights, and the revolution. That when African Americans were not allowed to play in Major League Baseball, they had a home at Hinchliffe. They played in Paterson. Let's tell the story. Thank you very much.
I'd like to make a small presentation to Congressman Pasquale, Assemblyman Shalanda and Assemblyman Benji Wimberly. I'm giving him a copy, a replica of the Emancipation Proclamation and the Constitution of the United States. I'm still giving the same thing to Benji, something of Wimberley. The only addition is I'm giving him a copy or replica of General Order Number 3. This is the document this is the companion document to the Emancipation. So he's got that also. And I say for somebody wanting something last, I'm presenting her with the same thing. The Emancipation, the amendments, and why the amendments is because the 13th, 14th, and 15th are in this document, and also General Order Number 3. I brought her up last because I want to give her an opportunity to say something.
Thank you. A lot has been said that I would echo the sentiments of. As the Assemblyman mentioned, I need your help in getting the Reparations Task Force bill passed in Trenton. We were the first to author the legislation. California picked it up. They passed it. They completed their report. Now they have recommendations before their legislature to support what true reparations look like. That can go to Congress so they know what action to take for repair. It's not just about saying the word reparations. It's about creating true repair for the systemic harms that we have suffered. So I want to thank each of you for taking time to come out today and every Juneteenth. And I will also note that New Jersey, we were first in making Juneteenth a holiday, and then the federal government came a day after us. So we can do it as a people, and I'm encouraged. God bless.